Welcome, everyone. I am very, very excited because I have my dear sister Susie here as my first recovery story interview. And Susie was my literal lifeline when I was in my long, dark night of the soul. She was an absolute angel sent to me from a very dear friend. Shout out to our dear sister Zoe. And Susie had gone through such an identical journey in this nervous system mayhem. And I had, at this point, not met anybody who had been through this. And so her messages to me on WhatsApp were just, they were my daily. It was so incredible. And her story is remarkable. Her healing is incredibly inspiring. And this is the first time that Susie has ever shared her story. Nobody knows
True.
this story publicly, so it's a big deal. Susie is an incredible musician. What's funny is that I had been playing her beautiful music in my belly dance classes for years, like not knowing. I was just like, I love this woman. And then I found out that it was her and her journey. She's going to take us on quite a ride. And I think there'll be a lot of amazing morsels. I know that what she did for me when I was in the absolute throes of terror. I mean, she's an angel. So, Susie, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And it was so sweet, wasn't it? Because we had never met. We didn't
Yeah.
know each other at all, but it was just a mutual friend who just said, "Oh," because she overheard me telling somebody a tiny snippet of what I had been through. And she said, "Oh, my friend is going through something like that right now. Can you message her?" And I said, "Yeah." So we just, yeah, we hadn't
So,
even, in fact, this is the first time we've seen each other face to face. So
yeah, which is amazing because we've been talking now for like two
yeah.
years, and
Look at
it's
your beautiful face. I haven't really
so
seen
so
it yet.
so connected to this soul. So yeah, I think it would be really nice to start hearing about your life and what you were up to before this
Mm.
whole storm and before this whole wild nervous system journey. Just like give us a little idea of what life was like so we can get a sense.
So I'm a singer-songwriter and a sort of voice coach, and I lead choirs and singing workshops and retreats. And it's really been 20 years of just pouring out my energy through song and bringing people together, like loads of enthusiasm. And I would always say, like, my life is kind of led by positivity, and I would just be like, let's just really come together as community, sing in harmony. And I was really, music was leading my way, and like a heart-centered lifestyle. I definitely, my personality traits were quite pushing. I was like quite a pusher as well. So I would do too much, say yes to too much. Like often I would come across this like, oh my God, I'm going to burn out a little bit, but I would find more energy. And so I was definitely run like now on the other side of the whole collapse and the whole crazy story. I'm much more like, the boundaries and the taking care of my needs and seeing that actually I wasn't doing that so much. And of course, our 20s are not necessarily about that, are they? It's like lots of traveling, lots of festivals, um, just, yeah, lots of kind of inspiration flowing through, very peoply, very kind of like community connected, adventures, quite a lot of risks and
Right.
um, yeah, excitement. And but yeah, definitely underneath, like now that I'm coming from a more mature place, I can feel underneath there were parts of me that were probably kind of like, can we slow down, please? Or can we just
Right.
like just drop into a bit more of a settled place? So there was definitely parts of me running on like, maybe I need to prove myself to be worth
Mhm.
anything, or maybe so all of that, I've met all of that a lot in this kind of dismantling of my whole personality structure as well. So that's
Isn't that amazing? It seems to be such a thing too with people who have been through journeys like this or these kind of mind body things that the people pleasing,
yeah.
like we have to say yes to everything. It's a real personality type that seems to fall into
Yeah.
it. So,
And for
and
me, it
then,
was like I would also have like I would definitely get FOMO. So it'd be like, oh, I
yeah,
can't listen to that. So I would just push my energy, even if it wasn't quite in the right space for it, or, some part that needed to prove themselves to particular people, or maybe success and career or whatever the things are. And I feel like my breakdown, which took me, by the way, like 3 years to recover from, at least, I'd say. Yeah, it's almost like it pulled up, it like dredged up all of, like, look at where you're over exerting, look at where you're completely overextending in certain places, pushing yourself, and the motivations. It was like, is this motivation like purely just to bring like joy to the people, or is it about being like, I'm not worth anything if I don't get like love, affirmation back? So if I run a singing workshop for 300 people, that's like so much affirmation coming my way. So my little 3-year-old who needs just to be loved is kind of getting fed on that, but actually that wound isn't really being looked at. So it
Mhm.
was, yeah, just uncovering everything, pulling all the roots up.
I
And,
love this.
even though I would never wish that kind of hell on anyone,
Yeah.
having gone through it, the depth of maturity and the depth of understanding of, it's almost like I was skimming the surface of life. I was just singing
Right.
along, let's woohoo, and then it just went boom. Like a big sledgehammer opened up, and it's like falling down this crack into the underworld.
Oh.
And from that place, slowly coming back through with like walking a tightrope, like a, proper, I could fall down at any moment, but just
Mhm.
keeping connected to those things that are going to bring me through, take me through to the other side. Now I'm on the other side, I can feel, wow, the dismantling and the transformation, and allowing myself to die the death, and be
Yeah.
has then allowed the rebirth to happen, which means that I'm actually coming from a place where, like, I don't really get FOMO. Like, this is all a bonus. Like, I thought I was gonna die, and so now I'm like, the small things, the gratitude, just the overwhelming gratitude, the not feeling I need to prove myself anyway. I just want to, just anything that comes out is just authentically coming out to be shared. But I feel like
Yes.
so much of the more egoic mindset, like motivations, have kind of been seen and dismantled through the process.
That's right.
So, if you're in the depth of hell right now, just know that this is a process of pieces of you dying. And
Yeah.
actually, even though it's horrific and you think, am I actually dying? It's like there is a process of renewal that's
Yes.
happening.
Absolutely. And I want to hear about all of the good stuff. I want to hear about
I'm
all,
just sorry,
like,
yeah, the good stuff.
she is so full of gems about how we can really have this be one of the best thing that's ever happened. So we want that. But I think it would be really nice for everyone to hear your story and the details of what happened, to really take us there, and then yeah, take us there, how the perfect storm happened, what it was like, the symptoms, what you went through, how
Yeah,
you came through it, and then we'll get into these
yeah.
morsels, these pearls about
Mm.
the gifts that are in these journeys. So, yeah, just take us into it.
So
Take us on a little journey with this whole wild. You can't make it up, that's for sure.
yeah, I don't think I have never really shared the story in its full, the fullness. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for the invitation of
Yeah.
that. I mean, actually, it was a combination of things. And at the time, it was like this awful thing happened, and it was this trigger. It was this very traumatic trigger. But looking back, there was so many things. It was sort of after that whole like lockdown COVID thing, and I had COVID, I think, a couple of times. And I actually, it was weird because I started to get a little ringing in my ears, a tiny bit, not really anything, but I never had that before. And I think I could feel that there was actually a nervous system fragility that was happening anyway, slightly kind of post-viral something. And then I did this cleanse, which was like something like a 2-month cleanse, which actually wasn't great for my body, because I'm not actually someone who should really be doing extreme things, because my constitution's quite delicate. I should be like more on the stabilizing vibe. But I was like, yeah, I'm doing this cleanse. So and so said it was really great. And so it wasn't really tuned in. So Um, I ended up going to a plant medicine ceremony, which was um I don't know whether how much detail I should go into it, but it was a very strong stimulant. Um, so the medicine's called Iboga, which is a like an African root. And until this day, even though this kind of I had this such awful experience, I feel like I'm definitely not in my heart like blaming kind of the spirit of that plant,
Yeah.
because I feel like it's just like such a strong way too strong for me, such a strong teacher. It just kind of went in and just pulled up s- like deep, deep, deep trauma basically. And I kind of went into my mother's womb, and it was like something about this like kind of ancestral, it was just way too much. It's a very, very strong stimulant. It's basically
The
the strongest.
most, I mean, it's considered to be the one of the very
It's a kind of annihilation type. I
yeah.
mean, you and
I've
you
been
know
to
it,
I've been like, "No, not for me."
yeah, and it works in a way of like kind of breaking everything that you're not, so that you can really feel the truth of who you are. And I'm an English rose. I'm sensitive. It's a stimulant, so a sip of someone's coffee makes me go, I'm a full decaf, like if that kind of girl. Like I can't be dealing with things that are, chocolate's too stimulating for me, like after a certain time, hour or whatever. So yeah, so on top of the cleanse, on top of everything, and then maybe it was to do with the substance, but also, I'm sure there's many stories out there of like badly held ceremonies and people in that position where there's a lot of chaos. So I went into a really, really, it was a very, very chaotic situation. It was a very traumatic situation. And I don't feel like right now I need to kind of go into the details of that.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, it was a big trauma to my system. Internally, it was too much. And it was almost like a sort of the bottom, like the plug just got pulled on my whole system. And and but I felt it was almost like something got uprooted, and in the uprooting, this kind of gaping hole, if you like, I don't know, pull up a carrot from the ground or something, if you're growing vegetables, and it kind of leaves this hole, and it was almost like pulling up like the roots of what needs to be healed, let's say, but way too much, too fast, too, just too much basically. And then it from that hole, it's like all the stuff just pouring through, like, and then my system went into, I mean, absolute terror basically. I went into complete terror, and then thinking, of course, this terror is going to calm down when it all wears off and the next day and resting. And then I just actually, I don't know whether, yeah, I don't know whether it's relevant, but I kind of came out. I was in the terror for a few days, and then I kind of came out of it just for about a week. I was like, oh my God, thank God I survived that. That was close. And then it was almost like I was walking on kind of ground suddenly that I thought was stable after that kind of awful ceremony and like just about finding my ground. But what had happened is it was like the underneath had been taken away. So I was walking on ground, and then I was like, the ground started cracking. And it was so scary because I've been in extreme experiences before in ceremonies or whatever, where it's like very intense and then you recover. But I'd never been in a situation where, a week later, the ground underneath me starts cracking and my whole system. And it's like the sleep just went. And
Oh,
so just lying there in and it's like I'm just falling through, I'm just falling through an abyss. And it's like, and I just know, and that at that point I was like, I know something really awful is happening, and there's really nothing I can do about it.
oh,
um, so the symptoms really like so intense. I mean, I guess it's like the symptom of terror, but
yeah.
it's like a prolonged, I don't think. unless you've been there, you can't understand what it feels like to be that hyper aroused in your nervous system to the
Yeah,
point where you don't feel human anymore.
totally.
It's like you I became like paper thin. I felt like I was made of glass that I
Feeling.
would just like shatter. Like it was like
Oh,
my nervous system was on the outside of my body, and any sound or any light or it was like completely dysfunctional, not being able to get out of bed. And so yeah, if you're in that place, it's like just know that other people have been there and they've come through. And I think one of the biggest symptoms, I think, because I've spoken to actually quite a few people, it's weird how people have come out of the woodwork
yeah.
since this has happened to me.
We find each other.
Yeah, people will be like, oh, and then it was like, and then even just a really, really close friend that I know really, really well, when I go through that, they said, oh, in my 20s, I had a kind of Kundalini awakening. I was like, that she was part of this like ashram or whatever, and something just popped. And then she just didn't sleep for like however many months. And I was like, oh my God, I had no idea about like that you went through that, and it was almost like it wasn't relevant to say it until,
Yeah.
I was in that similar position. So yeah, it's so strong. And I think one of the symptoms actually, and it's like really important to call it a symptom, I feel, is there's no way I can get out of this. Like the feeling that there's no way out. And I feel like everyone who goes into that dark place, into that hell place, into that it's like utter overwhelm. It's actually, I mean, it's kind of PTSD. I would call it like a combination of PTSD, being stuck. I remember typing into YouTube like stuck in fight flight, and then there'll be like videos on YouTube saying like, oh, you're in sort of like fight flight and they were describing something. I was like, no, 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 like really stuck in fight flight freeze. Like no, no, not just like, oh, I'm slightly dysregulated, like I'm completely, you know I'm dead, I'm
I think
dying.
like my body is convinced there is a giant mountain lion on me in this exact moment,
No,
24.
yeah, it's like it's basically terror. It's just flood. And the scary, I mean, it was so scary what that does to the body, because
I
the
was going
amount,
to ask about, how did you end up having physical symptoms as well
I
besides
mean,
this?
just yeah, I mean, the amount of adrenaline in it, I would describe it to someone as like, imagine someone just like injecting you with Red Bull, or like just injecting you with adrenaline, or like really strong stimulant
Totally.
24/7. You
It's
can't
like
shut it
that.
off.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, the body usually does a spike, and then but what if the spike that doesn't just spike and it just gets stuck on? So it's like what that actually does physically, and it is intense what it does physically, but I just want to say, if to anyone who's there, it is all reversible as well. The way that the body regenerates is utterly miraculous. And
That's so true.
you might feel, I aged like 10 years in that year,
Totally.
literally,
Me too.
because it's like your body's running a marathon inside. Your
Yeah.
body's running a marathon. You're lying there in bed, fourth night of not sleeping or whatever.
Oh.
And there's just a marathon, boom, 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 boom. And it's just panic, panic. And the mind, when it's in that level of anxiety, and people say, oh yeah, anxiety. It's like
Oh
the
no,
level
this is beyond. This is
it's like a siren going off,
yeah.
and the way that like songs will get stuck in your head or something, they'll just get in there and they'll just torture you, or whatever the thing is, because because your brain chemistry is completely, I mean, my hormones and my brain chemistry was just off the chart. It's like a cocktail of like, it's really physical, and
It's
that's
crazy that we can laugh about it now. I mean, I'm literally laughing about the most horrific thing that we went through.
it's
I mean,
literally,
the fact if this is helpful to anyone watching, the fact that I would have never thought that I could be actually laughing about it, but this is like the other side. There is another side where we can actually, it's
yeah,
so bad that you have to
it's
just
so bad. It's like, I mean, really, I'm like, And like I said, yeah, I'm glad you asked me what my life was like before. It was like, you know, I'm like the furthest away from suicidal as a character.
Yeah.
And like at one point, just looking in the mirror, being like, I cannot believe that I feel like my only option is to end my life right now. Like, how have I got to this place? You know, it just, and even just, I would like freak myself out, even just acknowledging that, because it's
Yeah.
like, it's not me that, and it's like, well, maybe it's not maybe it's all just, trauma and different, we've spiraled into things. It's like, oh my God, I've actually spiraled into this place of complete despair where there's no way out and I don't know how to switch off the hell.
And it can happen. It's like you said, like there were these little, in hindsight, we see that little things were being like placed upon the nervous system and it was
Yeah.
sensitizing over time. But then that one thing seems to happen so fast that the
Mhm.
descent is so immediate that you're like, how did I get here? And how on earth do I possibly get out of here?
Yeah. And
So
everyone's got a different story of like the trigger, but
yeah.
often the symptoms are quite similar.
Oh,
And
totally.
food,
Totally.
it's like you will have your own thing that kind of got you there, and it could be you could be in like more of a PTSD state of, um, you know, something happening, boom, and it's just. But also, I know people that have gone to these places from after viruses or like Lyme
Yeah.
disease,
Yeah, exactly.
where some virus has got into the system and basically the system's just freaking out. And
Exactly.
so it's almost like an internal threat. There's like an internal threat.
It's
So
exactly what it is.
contamination
Yeah.
of substance and this internal threat, and then also like particular things in my history and things that feel like kind of ancestral, like family stuff,
Yeah.
really came to surface, and it was very
Same.
scary. It was very scary. So yeah, the symptoms, things like hypersensitivity to, like anything, touch, light, just like, but also the ringing in the ears. It's so intense. Like if you're like experiencing like this intense kind of just ringing, I was like, oh my God, I've got tinnitus, and it's like that feeling of like I'm never going to get rid of this ringing. But then I realized, like, it was so good doing the research of being like, okay, the, the adrenaline, the fight flight phase basically is like there's something that, people say like the tiger in the room. So there's something that you need to run away from. So it's like all the energy in the body. So you could, you know, run for a mile without noticing or whatever. And then the ears, it's almost like you need to hear so acutely, but it's all gone into complete overdrive. So you might not be able to run anywhere because you're just paralyzed by the amount of adrenaline in your system. But the ears, like, they're needing to be so acutely open so you can hear like any pin drop, what's happening is the ears are opening so much, or is like going into such kind of hyper arousal that they start ringing. um and then like the eyes need to be able to see so well that they start seeing too well. It's like everything's on
Everything is so
1000%.
sensitized.
Yeah.
So what was it like? I mean, you're in this, and what were your days like? How long did this go on for? Give us an idea of just everyday life and how long this whole chapter went on.
Yeah, so I needed looking after for the first 2 months until I acclimatized. And I feel like this is a really important part of it. It was like the first 2 months was just falling, like scrabbling, falling, like tumbling, you
Mm,
know, actually trying to hold on to who I was.
mm,
And as each day that went past, I was like, I've forgotten who I was. And I'm like tumbling and just, yeah, in complete I'm spinning sort of thing. So after about 2 months, it was like I hit a kind of ground that was like the bottom. So then I was just like in like horrendous kind of depression, let's say. So I mean, yeah, so it's like terror and fear and confusion and tumbling. And then it was like almost acclimatizing, because my sense of it is I realized over some time is I'm not trying to heal. It's like I'm not trying to get out doesn't do anything. Let me just put it right there.
Makes it
Like,
worse.
so fight, flight, right? So fighting it makes
Yeah,
it worse. And
totally.
trying to get out, trying to escape from it, it's like the only thing to do is surrender to what's happening.
100%.
You have
100%.
just, it is the most counterintuitive thing. And
Mhm.
I started to touch on the most tiny 1% inkling of surrender after about 2 months of just
Mm.
complete, you know, terror. And in that surrender, yeah, there was like a hitting kind of rock bottom, but it was acclimatizing. So it's almost like for me, it's about the relationship with it as opposed to the thing itself. So
Mm.
it's like I can actually acclimatize to the fact that I can actually begin to accept, okay, this is where I am. So I think like that's a really important thing to just keep saying to yourself is like, I can only be where I am right now.
You helped me so much with that acceptance. The acceptance morsels, that
Mhm.
was huge. Because who wants to accept, like, the hideousness of it? But it
But we
is the
have
only
to.
way. It
It
is the
is literally the only way out is to really let go and allow. It's like
Yeah,
um, allowing the current and the tide. You know, in a whirlpool,
yeah.
what that people say, like if you're swimming or if like, is it a whirlpool or some kind of like riptide or whatever?
Yeah,
If you're fighting it, you exhaust yourself and then you end up dying.
yeah.
So there's something about the only way to get out is like you have to surrender and then it pulls you through and it kind of spits you out. So
Mhm.
there's like in the most untrusting place you could ever be in your life. You know, of course, like life has just completely kicked my ass. Like I'm the most untrusting I could possibly be. Like I was trusting before, but now how could I be trusting of if something so awful has happened to me? That's the time when I have to dig down for the trust and
Mhm.
for the surrender and for the this is how it is. This is how it's meant to be, purely because it's how it is. And I have to really accept where I am.
Mhm.
And from where you are, that's where
Yeah.
that's where because actually it's literally you're fighting yourself. So like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I wish this wasn't happening. And it's like your own self is in a state of fear and state of terror. And the other thing to say actually about it is some people get really helped by medication and things like that. And like I know people that the medications actually really, really saved them through it.
Mhm.
I'm someone who it made it much worse.
Mhm.
So you just have to like, each person just feels into tries what they can. But even herbs, like even things like valerian, I was like trying a bit of CBD, I tried different things and like Valium or whatever, which is, people say, oh, take a Valium, it will knock you out. For me, it was like there was something deep in my soul that was screaming out, this is not okay. What happened is not okay. Like what happened up on that hill in that year or whatever is not okay. And something is just screaming basically. And when I take a Valium or even like sedative herbs, it's trying to put a lid on a voice that's coming out through, and it's like the symptoms are, yeah, it's like the symptoms are the way that my body is speaking because that's
Mhm.
the words that the body
It's
has,
true.
like
It's
symptoms.
so true. It's
And I
so
was actually doing this amazing therapy for a while called Mickle therapy, and it's designed for people with like chronic fatigue and ME. And basically, it's like interpreting symptoms. So when you get symptoms,
Mhm.
it's your body telling you there's something not in alignment. So it's a really beautiful therapy. Maybe we'll put it in the comments.
I love that. Yeah, actually, that's good. I wanna hear about everything that helped you
Yeah, we'll put,
through.
and if I forget to say something here and I remember it afterwards, I'll get you to just write it
Yeah.
as well in
Yeah.
the description in case, because there's quite a few things. I won't remember them all now, I think, but there's quite a few things that really, really helped me. But Mickle therapy, it's like, people that have been in bed for years or whatever, the symptoms are really like telling is that they're trying to communicate something. You keep living your life in with certain patterns, through your personality or whatever, and these kind of really what's the word, like they're very mysterious, these kind of like illnesses or chronic illnesses and stuff, or like PTSD type nervous system stuff. So the Mickle therapy basically, it's about really trying to understand what your body's trying to tell you, and then making action and changes, and then it switches the symptoms off. So I know people
Mm.
that have like gone from like 10 years in bed to just full normal life through the therapy of really learning that the symptoms is a communication, and then really honoring that communication and like trying to meet the needs of our bodies,
I love
but not
that.
really knowing. Yeah, it's pretty
I
cool.
love
So
that because our body always is speaking to us.
yeah. Yeah. So with the
So,
medication, what was happening is I was trying to just go to sleep. I was
yeah.
terrified of not enough sleep. It was like my biggest fear is like just got so tired and just go to sleep, just go to sleep. But it basically kicked back worse. So if I took something that was sedating, it would just be like boom, 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 and I'd have to like get up. I'd actually have to get up and walk around like my village or whatever,
Yeah.
because my system was so pissed off with me that
I
I
had the
tried to
same. I had
shut
the
it up.
same. There's nothing I could take. There was no place to run.
And actually was like when I just kind of went, you know what? I think I picked some chamomile from my herb garden and some rosemary, and I just went to bed with chamomile and rosemary. I was just holding it. And I remember that I just went, you know what? I'm not going to take anything. I'm not going to try anything. I'm not going to try and sleep. Don't try and sleep, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's actually
No, I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna be like, please, plant, just you're just so sweet. Like, just be with me. I'm not going to try, and I'm just going to be with this. And that was the night when that was like
oh,
the beginning, like that in the first week when I was just
the
completely
paradox of it.
staring at the walls. So as soon as I stopped trying to sleep, I stopped trying to take something. And then I settled into like, I mean, very in and out, just to say, like, for the
Yeah.
first 6 months,
Mhm.
and the first, say, 2 months, I would get 45 minutes sleep
Mhm.
maximum at a time. So very, very in and out, like,
Mhm.
and it's slow. For me, it felt like tiny drops. And like a friend of mine was saying, like, actually a sort of a therapist friend who really, really helped me as well, actually, is like, I just said, like, my well has just been completely drained. I've got nothing. There's just like sludge at the bottom of my well. And I'm just kind of, and I just need sleep, to fill up my well. And he was like, you just have to accept that you can't, like, you're just going, I need my well to be full. And it's like, well, it's not. Like, just, he was kind of harsh with me. And it was actually quite helpful. I was like, oh, yeah, like, I have to just get over the fact that I can't just wish my life is different from it is. And another friend, actually, it was really helpful, said, maybe you're just gonna like have to accept the fact that your life's just gonna be shit for a bit. And I was like, oh, yeah. It's like, I'm so, it's like the layer of it being shit's really hard. But the layer on top that we think that we should be having a good time, or like we've completely failed that we're in this place, or like, but I was planning on being awesome and I'm like absolute wreck. Like, we can just, they're not helpful. We can
I
just
love that. I
like
was
put
planning
all
on
that
being
aside.
awesome, but I'm an absolute wreck. That's
And
amazing.
I just can't be awesome right now. And she was just like, maybe you can. And I was just like, oh, yeah. And it's like again and again, like new layers of surrendering to just
Mm.
how shit this is.
Oh my
Just how
gosh.
bad
So
it is.
relatable.
You just have to. You
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
just accept this. Not even accept, just
Right.
tolerate. Like, just
Just
not even tolerate. I mean,
completely let it be.
it's
How
like,
long was it shit for, would you say?
um,
And everybody's timeline is different, but I'm just so this means nothing to anybody else, but I'm just curious.
yeah, it was very incremental, the healing. So it just got better, like, and that's why I was saying about the well is like drop, one drop, one drop. And slowly over a year, let's say,
Yeah.
it was like, oh, I've got a bit of water in my well.
Mhm.
And the drops got more, of course, it's like a snowball effect, but it's
Yeah.
so slow. But it's like, just to know. And it's also, that's the thing about every little win. And I would say that to you, wouldn't I? You'd
You
be like, I noticed
did.
that only slept 2 hours. It's like, well, you slept 2 hours.
Only, no, if I slept 2, I was like, "I
Yeah,
slept 2 hours."
yeah. Well, exactly. And it's like every little, to really celebrate
Yeah,
every little piece that, you know, is
right.
that went a little bit right. It's like, because I was so in the, oh, my world completely empty, my life is so bad. And it's like, well, what about that little drop? Because it's those tiny drops that will eventually, and it's slow, but
So true, it's so
it's weird,
true.
because if someone had told me when I was really in that awful, like, this is it's gonna be a year until, but actually it's not. It's slow, but it's fast. I'm here now. Yeah, I'm here, and I'm
And you
absolutely loving my life. I just want to say
yes,
that. Like,
yes.
I'm just so much more grounded. I just don't feel like I need to do anything to make my life good. It's just being alive is just, it's so tangibly like, and I wouldn't say like enjoy, I've still like loads of challenges, but the other thing is when you've been to that level of hell, the little challenges that you thought were bad, and
Oh,
you
they're
know
like
when I used to have a big tantrum about something, like, oh my god, that's so awful that whatever happened, and now I'm just like, oh my god,
nothing. It's like nothing.
nothing.
And you did have to just it is worth noting here that you did actually have to sort of let it all burn down. You even had to let your relationship burn down at this
I
point,
did
right?
actually.
And that's and then it circled back. So, I don't know, it's
Yeah,
something worth sharing there because
yeah,
obviously this kind of journey can be stressful with a partner.
yeah. I
Yeah.
had to let all my music go. I had to let, like, I had to close down, cancel. I was actually due to be a guest on Nessie Gomez uh voice workshop, her online voice workshop. There's like 500 women coming through, and it was like I was like all ready to, and then I just was like, I can't do it. Like my breath
Like
just like
barely,
short, and like my little,
barely
I was
breathing.
like a little like corpse or whatever, like, sorry. Just had to let all the things I thought I was gonna do, letting all that go. And then, so yeah, I am in a relationship. I was in a relationship, same person, Jack. Um, and yeah, he looked after me for 2 months. I was like, he kind of like cooked for me and rubbed my feet every night, because I was told a few things, like the Epsom salts bath, getting my feet rubbed to bring the energy like down into
I needed
feet.
that so much.
Really important, like little, I mean, not really important, like if you don't have anyone to do that, it's not, essential, but just those little things that can, so he was really there for me. So I just feel so, so grateful for that. But what happened is I just was like, this isn't a relationship anymore. This is like, I'm just a sweating. I mean, I would change my pajamas like 3 times a night. I
Mm.
loved wearing pajamas. I've always loved wearing pajamas. And it would be like, I would have this pajama rotation. Like, we laugh about it now, like, oh, the pajama rotation, where, because I would wake up and I would be dripping in sweat, like absolutely, like I'd just been in the bath, you know. So I'd have to peel off those pajamas, hang them, get the next ones that were on the heater from my outlet, and they would just go like in the wash and round and like drying. And
Oh my
I could only wear like three pairs a night kind of thing. It was just so, yeah, I was just like this sniveling, crying, sweating, like couldn't eat. Oh, that's the other thing with the symptoms thing. It's like stomach, just because in the fight flight, you're not in rest and digest. So it's like everything was disgusting, like, oh, I couldn't figure out what I could eat, but actually meat. This is something so, gosh, yeah, I'm not like I wasn't a massive meat eater. I wasn't vegetarian, but I wouldn't eat like pork really, or like I've just, some wild like venison once a week or whatever. I was more like in that. And literally there was a time when I was like, these animals are saving my life. Like, I couldn't eat anything else. It was, I would try, like, I remember just like putting some like quinoa and salad into my mouth and just like kind of spitting it out. And it wasn't me being like picky or something. It was literally, I was in my animal, just, I became like an an instinctual, primal kind of animal. I'd walk into the room, and if there was someone whose energy was just, who usually I'd just be like, "Oh, hey," and I'd just kind of put on a front and do a personality like jiggle with, and kind of like be able to interact with. I would just walk straight out. I'd be like, I can't be near that person because they're like really good friend. It's just something about their energy. I could only be around
It is, it's
certain
so
people.
primal. It really is so
Yeah.
primal.
I was just like an animal that would just spit out. I would literally spit out food. If it had like some chili in it, spicy, because that's obviously kind of activating, I'd just be like, I'd just spit it out. Or like even ginger, which is like, obviously I love ginger, you know, it's amazing medicine. Like it was just too hot for my system, because which was like running on, it's like burning out. So yeah, the meat, I would just be like, I need just a plate of sausages basically with some potato, like some root vegetables or something. And so yeah, my relationship to meat really changed, because whenever I'd eat meat, I'd physically feel, okay, and more here, because I was like pushing it out. I was like out. I was so opened out. It would just bring me like more back into my body. So I would have like, and the other thing was like protein within half an hour of waking. Usually, like in the old days, it would be like 2 hours of like yoga and whatever and messing around, and then it'd be like a green smoothie or whatever. I tried a smoothie when I was ill, and literally after 2 sips, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm spinning out! Get that thing away from me!" Like, you know, it was like
Get that thing away.
smoothie was like poison, because it was like sweet and it was all like superfoods,
Yeah.
And I just was like, okay, I need eggs, like kind of almost like on waking.
I needed so much butter. I felt like butter was just like coating my nerves.
Yeah, eggs, um, and yeah, like fish, stuff like that. So that was about that. Oh yeah, the relationship. I'm like going off on a tangent. Um, yeah. So I said to Jack, I'm so sorry, but I've realized, actually, no, he kind of was like, this doesn't really feel like a relationship. Like there was not really so much intimacy as I just could, there was just no, I was just in a full, completely consumed in my process, basically. He was just like my carer, basically, in that time. And it was just getting very intense, because I would wake him. I ended up sleeping in the spare. I couldn't sleep in the bed with him, so I'd be sleeping in the spare room, and just sometimes it'd be like 4 times a night. I would go and be like, just wake him up, and just be like, I'm freaking out. And then he was so patient with me, and that I could feel it, just like grinding him down a bit. Obviously, like being woken up, or anyway, all of that stuff, and me just being like so just such a mess. Um, and I just realized I'm leaning. It was like I was like leaning. So I'd be like the waking him up, and oh, please, like save me, like someone save me. And I realized I have to do this on my own. Like I actually have to be on my own. So I said to him, like, I realize I have to heal on my own. And it was so painful. Oh gosh, I can't believe to experience the kind of emotional pain that's like hard anyway, in a state of like the nervous system being so raw.
Oh, it's also
I actually felt
amplified.
at times, I actually felt like I would look down and be like, is my physical flesh actually like breaking open? Like it was
Oh God. Oh,
so
the
bad.
heart. No, I know the heart. And
Literally
the
like,
heart is already dealing just on a physiological level, that level of adrenaline that the heart is dealing with. And then when you add the emotional stuff, it's like, how can one chest hold all of this? But then you have circled back to each other.
it's amazing. It's like, but just the resilience. I just want to like speak to and to have gone through such a difficult time, and to feel the resilience and the bouncing back of the body, like I said, I aged 10 years in that year.
Yeah.
Like I got younger. I actually felt myself. I lost all my muscle as well, as the other thing. And because I stopped, I've got these big cheeks, you see, because
You're
I
gorgeous.
smiled a lot, in
Gorgeous.
my life. I just like kind of smiling a lot, talking a lot, singing a lot, all that stuff. And I was like so glum. And I was like, oh my God, I've lost the muscles in my cheeks. I actually lost the muscles in my cheek.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, and my
I
bigger
know, it's
cheek.
like you don't smile at all. That's smile
Yeah. Yeah. And then, it's like
becomes
there
us.
was regeneration, and the body doesn't matter how much, my friend who actually does the Mickle therapy now, because she kind of healed herself through Mickle therapy, she was kind of in bed and partly hospitalized for 10 years, um like not eating, like just,
Chronic fatigue.
yeah, like a really chronic kind of system breakdown.
Mhm.
um she's so full of life, and she's like, it all regenerated, that 10 years of like the biochemistry being completely out, and like, the nerve, the vague, the nerve to the stomach, like not working, all of that stuff, and then
It's yeah.
completely regenerated. Yeah.
It is the codes, the divine codes that made us are fully in there and intact. No matter what kind of crazy human calamities we get ourselves into, those codes never leave. So I love that.
Yeah, and actually, the guy with I was telling you about, with the um who was helping me on the phone quite a bit. I remember calling and be like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, what do I do to get out of this, please? And he's like, you have to do nothing. That's the point. Like,
So true.
do nothing. And
That's
I
so
was like,
true.
no, yeah, but I can't do nothing. But like, what do I actually do to like get? He's like, he said, okay, put a beach on your phone, like just lapping waves on the beach, and just like put it, I propped it up on my knees in bed. And he's like, now you're on the beach and you're doing nothing, because that. And I was like, oh, this is so annoying. Like, I am dying here. I can't do nothing. So actually, I needed to really let go
Yeah.
and really do nothing, because what's incredible is when you do nothing, as in your mind,
Yeah.
the person who you think you are,
Right.
does nothing, then the body has time to do the thing that it does without you doing anything.
So true.
So
It's
the healing, yeah, the
that's
healing
the gold.
happens
That's
when
the
you step
gold.
out of the way. So that's why the surrender. That's why it's like, it's actually the mind that everything needs to surrender so the body can regenerate. And so healing happens on its own.
The
The
body
healing happens on
knows,
its own.
exactly. It's oh
The
my god.
body knows
It's the gold, honey. This is the gold. This
yeah,
is so important, this message that is being shared right now, because in the nervous system space, which now, I've kind of dove in there and the different YouTube channels and so much of what's out there. And I'm sure it is helping people. So this isn't to make it wrong or anything, but so much of what's out there is, all the brain retraining steps and the pillars. You must do these certain amounts of pillars every day. You've got to do these visualizations and do this and do this and do that. And it's like, I just feel like the way that our physiology is designed and that fear center of the brain, which gets so activated in those times, it's almost like reinforcing that there's a problem and we really need to fix it. And the more we're reinforcing that problem, the more the problem is staying there. Whereas what you're saying, which is what I did as well, and totally agree, is like just letting it be, the just doing nothing and being okay to completely let it all go.
yeah. And it's a real paradox. And I remember saying this to someone, where it's like, in the underworld, everything's back to front and upside down. So like, the same rules don't apply in a way. So it's like, when we're going along in the normal life, it's like, okay, when I do that, then I get a return like that. And like, when I try and do something, it comes out right. And like, if something's bad, I try and get away from it and whatever. And if I want to sleep, I try and go to sleep. And in the underworld is like, there's something bad and I try and get away from it. It's like, you it is you. Like, what's happening is it's all happening on the inside, and all of the paradoxical, it's like a puzzle. I felt like I was in this kind of soul quest where I had to do all these riddles. So it was like every day was like a riddle that I had to kind of unravel. And actually, the whole thing was like an unlearning because my mind and my trying to get out, or like it was my mind that would trap me in the prison. So to escape the mind, you can't fight your way out and try and escape. It's almost like when you allow yourself to dissolve, you dissolve through into another level. So it was just like this absolute riddle of unlearning, unraveling, and to continue to dissolve. But it's so paradoxical and counterintuitive when you're like, shit, I'm dying. I've got to cling on. Like that thing of like, cling on for dear life. That's basically going to prolong, because at some point you have to realize that there's a death process happening.
Yeah.
So kind of the sooner you can, and also it happens in its own time. So it's like you can be like surrender to surrender, 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 but your being, of course, that's support,
Mhm.
very, very supportive to do. And like you said, all the like videos of the nervous system and the doing, there's lots of supportive things that we can do that are supporting us to not to actually let go and not do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in the not doing that the because it's like we think we're in control. And what
Mhm.
happens in these breakdowns is we realize we can't control our reality. And actually we're really not in control. And there's a life that's moving through. So when we actually need to deeply heal, and deeply kind of transform and unravel and get through a dark night of the soul, we're not going to get through it. We have to submit to the tide actually just carrying us through. And it's a really, really hard thing when you're in that much fear.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we don't wanna some of the tools are so helpful, like, I don't know if I would have fully made it through as I did without certain things like Buteyko breathing was like my lifeline. I still do it every day.
Mhm.
So but at the same
Amazing. We
time
have different lifelines. For me, it was like the Epsom salts bath. I remember
okay,
when
yeah,
when
what
I
did you
broke up with
use? Tell us your lifelines.
I broke up with Jack, and I just was like, okay, where am I going to live? Because it's his house. I'm in the house now. So yeah, it all I can tell you about that bit. But so I found like a room with a friend, and I just said like, yeah, I'd love to come and stay in the room. It's like beautiful nature walks there. Just to let you know, the two things, like I need to basically have a bath every single night. I had this like massive like 20 kg of Epsom salts or whatever that I'd like drag around with me in my car. It's like I need to have a bath every night. So if I need to pay more rent, that's like, or bills or whatever, just let me know, like bill me for it. Cause like that 100%, like that, if when I'd had my bath with the Epsom salts and I got into bed, I felt just a glimmer of hope in my muscles that I could relax enough to get some sleep.
Mm.
And it was just like very cleansing before the bedtime kind of routine. Oh yeah, my bedtime
See,
routine.
Epsom salt stimulated me more. Isn't that wild? Even
Weird. Yeah.
Epsom salts overstimulated.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Um, and that's the thing, is like it's kind of trial and error. But if you can just take little pieces of like
Yeah.
what people, because people really like supported me with different things. But then the other thing was like I need to be able to cook meat in the house. It was like absolutely essential. Those were my two things. Like I need to be able to have a bath before bed and like cook meat. And it's like everything. And and then of course, is it quiet enough and dark? Is there curtains? And it would like the bedtime routine. Oh my God, so boring. I would switch my phone off before dinner. And that's not because like, someone said, oh, you shouldn't look at your phone because it affects sleep. Of course it does. But it was like, my, I was so psychologically kind of fragile that if I got a text message at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
say like someone saying something even just remotely like interpersonal, like
Totally.
even hinting towards something that would be, I would just and then that was it. So I
I
just
so
be like,
so relatable. You're like, save everything for the morning.
yeah, no one, it's like cutting everything out.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like 6 o'clock dinner, 7 o'clock bath, and then 8 o'clock bed. I'll go to bed really early because and people would have different, because someone else said to me, "Don't go to bed until you're tired, because or else you'll just be lying there for hours." But actually, for me, so everyone has a different
Yeah.
relationship with bed and sleep. For me, I needed to know that I had like 12 hours
I was
before
the
8 a.m.
same. That was my
because
strategy too.
it was relaxing for me to know that it's like, doesn't matter if I don't sleep for the next like 5 hours, I've got loads of time. But if I went to bed at 10,
Yeah.
I'd already be like, oh my God, it's almost midnight. Like,
Oh
oh,
my
I would
gosh,
like be panicking.
totally the same in that way.
So sometimes I'd get a couple of hours, like I'd go to bed and I'd like fall asleep for a couple of hours, like say like, I don't know, 9 till 11. And then and then I struggle the rest of the night. But it's like, okay, I got those.
At least that
You know,
exactly, exactly. I was the same.
oh,
I
poor us.
know. Oh man, yeah, no, that's it. I mean, what is it like now? Tell us how you're sleeping now. Tell us how you're feeling
Oh, it's
now.
great. I mean, I have to say, there's I never went, I've never gone back to who I was before. There, but maybe if someone had said that to me, like when I was in it, I would have been like a bit freaked out. But it's like clearly this journey is going to be one of transformation. But
Mhm.
the thing is I I like being me, how I am now,
Mm.
probably in a deeper way more than how I was before,
Mm.
even though I'm like much more careful with like, and I have started like staying out late and coming home, and some of it takes me a couple of hours to wind down because I'm more sensitive to like nervous system stimulation, but it doesn't matter, it's like my relationship with that has changed. I'd
Yes.
learned to just be like, it's going to be fine. If I could get through that, I can get through anything.
Oh.
So I might wake up and it's a bit of a bad day and I haven't had enough sleep, but it's like, and so what? I've had a way worse day than this before, and
Mm.
then I can just go to sleep tonight and it's going to be fine. And
Yeah, yeah, it's
yeah, I
like
take care of myself a lot more for sure.
Mm.
There's that piece. Um, but yeah, life is really sweet. I feel like I'm really being rewarded. That's how it feels. It's just like life is rewarding me just in the sweetest and most simple ways. Just in a sense of contentment. Yeah,
Oh, I
and
love that.
gratitude. Yeah.
What's better than that?
And actually someone said to me when I was in my worst bit, they said, "Oh, when you get through this, your nervous system is going to be more grounded than it's ever been." And I just thought, what a douchebag. They have absolutely no idea where I am. How could they possibly say that my nervous system's going to be more grounded than it was before when I was like so happy and everything? And it's been like ripped to shreds. And like, I'm basically going to be dealing with PTSD my whole life, probably from this. It's been like such a traumatic experience. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, actually, my nervous system's kind of, it's different. It feels different to be alive now. It's much more, I feel actually much more alive, weirdly, even though I was living like this fantastic life. I'm like so alive. I'm traveling around everywhere. I'm doing all this stuff. But was I really dropped in to my body? Was I really tasting and touching life from a full place of awareness and presence,
Mm.
and like tasting it, like all of the flavors of life?
Yeah.
I was more like skimming along, doing, actually.
Right.
And it's
It
like, oh,
just
I'm so
gives you that
alive.
appreciation, right? For everything. You said that to me. That was another one of your many pearls when I was in the absolute throes. I think at one point I hadn't slept. It was like 5 straight days of nothing. And, just going to these terrible healers that were just making it worse, right? Wanting me to go back and try to remember like every traumatic thing that's ever happened. And it's like,
Oh
this is
my
not the
goodness.
place for that. But I think you said to me, the gratitude that you're going to have just for the most basic day, just to wake up and just the most basic, you're going to be with such an unbelievable, and it's actually so true. It's so true.
Beautiful.
I was
Oh,
actually thinking, for somebody who's watching now, who is in it, who is in that place, they're like maybe even annoyed that we're smiling and laughing about it, right? Because it's like, how on earth? That's so terrible. Believe me, when you're in it, it's just, yeah. There's no
I
laughing.
wasn't smiling about it so much that I lost the muscles in my cheeks.
Yeah,
That's how much I
exactly.
wasn't smiling about it before.
So what would you say? Because you have just so, oh my gosh, what would you say to somebody who's just in that right now? Who, even though, they see our joy and see us laughing about it, they still are like, it's just torture. Whether it's chronic illness, long COVID, nervous system breakdown.
That you're going to get through this. You're going to get through this and you're going to be more yourself than you've ever been before because this isn't just random. Um, this is something that's kind of deeply facing you with parts of yourself that you've never kind of faced before. And I don't mean that in a like, I just feel like it's just so hard to put it into words, actually. It's kind of that sense of, it's the sense of the impossibility. I remember just feeling like there's no way out because I'm I'm so, it's gone so far, it's so bad that I just cannot get out of this. And to just know that you can't fight your way out. And it's true, it's like the mind is going, I can't get out, I can't get out, there's no way out. And it's like, yeah, the mind actually doesn't have a way out. It doesn't have a solution. So it's like we can't keep going back to the mind to find the way out because it's completely out of its depth. The mind in this circumstance is completely out of its depth and it's going to run round and it's also going to tell you lots of stories that are not true. And one of the most important things is to not believe your thoughts. That is like one of the number ones is like the catastrophizing of the thoughts. Your mind actually does not know what's best for you right now, and it does not know what's going to happen. And it can so easily tell you, I'm going to be stuck in this forever. This is going to, and it's just not true. So just to really remember that is what the mind does. And it's not that the mind is, it's just trying to keep you safe. It's just it's trying to keep you safe and try and find a way out. So it's like, as much as you can, just coming into accepting this journey. And that doesn't mean like dropping deeply into feeling everything, because sometimes the feeling is way too much as well. Just want to like name that as well, that sometimes the physical sensation is so unbearable that we kind of don't know where to rest. And just know that the turning of time will bring you out of it. And it's like the more that you can do nothing, the more that you can surrender to what's happening, the more you can say, this is where I am, and there's the pain of where you are and the difficulty and the challenge of that, but take off the other layer, which is like, I should be somewhere else. This is a total failure, or like, or I wish I was having, or, oh, but other people, or any of that stuff. Like that is, for me, it was like, I have to give myself 100% to this healing journey. And then when I realized that this healing journey would take all of my courage to actually completely say yes to it. And it sounds completely counterintuitive because saying yes to the most awful hell. But the thing is, it's happening anyway. If you say no to it, it's not going to go away. So saying yes to it actually opens up a little way through, and it won't necessarily happen straight away. It's just know that the passing of time will, it's like the tide of it will actually just carry you. But you need to let go of the riverbank so that it can carry you through. And
How
it's
much
almost
do
like,
we love your metaphors?
and it's also that thing, I remember that feeling of like, I'm climbing the walls, I'm like scrabbling, I'm climbing the walls of this prison. And actually, I need to just let myself fall to the floor, to the rock bottom. and just take a breath and just be like, I'm at rock bottom right now. And you know what? I'm not going to be here forever. This is not a sentence. This is a dismantling. So it's like allowing the old parts of you to die, and that might feel like literally everything's dying, but somehow you're still here. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, surely I should be dead, but how am I not dead?
I know.
Yeah. Allowing the time it takes to actually go through the nothingness and the kind of annihilation, and then just counting your little wins, your tiny wins, the tiny bit where you said, oh, I think I just enjoyed that meal. I think I'm actually slightly enjoying this mouthful of whatever you're eating. It's like, well, that's better than that.
Yeah, I can actually taste this. I remember that was a huge win.
Oh, it's so bad when the stomach shuts down, but you just have to eat.
Or when you just lose, like when all pleasure completely evaporates. I mean, I'm such a food person. I was like, I'm not even enjoying chocolate.
No,
When it comes back, though, you're
no
like,
chocolate.
wait a minute. Oh yeah, I
Anything
couldn't.
sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, anything sweet. I would actually avoid like, and you might
I had sweet
actually,
stuff, healthy sweet
yeah,
stuff, like
yeah.
honey, sweet and honey.
For me, I was
Honey.
like, sweet was too stimulating. Like anything spicy, even black pepper was too. I was like,
Oh
oh,
my God.
we were all different. Like I was on a full kind of, and it
Kick.
wasn't like my mind saying, oh, you shouldn't eat this, you shouldn't eat that. None of that. It was just, I was just like this animal. But actually, I want to just say, like, the other thing is, I would say to myself, like, follow the pleasurable sensations. And it's a very interesting thing to say to yourself when you are in the least pleasurable situation of your whole life, when everything feels hideous. Just a little, like, if there's just some little, like, I was just stroking, just any little
Mhm.
zoom in. If you can find any place that feels neutral
Sure.
or a little bit pleasurable, even just a tiny bit, go in, follow. And it's just, don't
Yeah,
do anything that give yourself to this healing journey, and don't do anything that isn't just, you know, because they're the drops in the well. So you've got
it's
your
so true.
empty well.
I did this. This was a huge
Yeah,
thing for me too.
yeah,
For me, it was the beauty because there was, obviously when you're in
yeah,
that space of the nervous system being so overactivated,
yeah.
it's hard to notice, the beauty of existence. And so I would just really, you know, get myself inside of the flower or like the beautiful horizon or the beautiful sunset and just lock into that beauty and just keep lock
Mm.
because then it just slowly drop the drop and it does build and
I
grow.
mean, it's really interesting hearing that, because for me, I had a whole thing around beauty where it's like, I cannot see the beauty in anything. I couldn't see it. And like, I'd be like with this massive tree and I'd just be like, I'm feel, I feel completely unable to experience the beauty of this tree. Or
Yeah.
so it's like, all that, also that piece of like, we find, it's like whatever you can find in, because we're all different. It's like whatever we can find that's just that little bit. And I used to put I'd get like a really strong kind of intensity on the vagus nerve on the back of my neck, and I would get really cold water on the shower and just go over the bath and just do cold water on the back of my neck and like numb. This was a tip I got.
Oh, wow.
It really helped me because I would have like this like
Buzzing,
buzzing, and my
buzzing.
neck would be like, and it was just my vagus nerve absolutely popping off.
My
So
gosh.
I'd get cold water and I'd numb the back of my neck, and it
Oh,
really
wow.
like, it just like numbed it.
Oh my gosh, that is wild. Yeah, it's funny how you said, imagine injecting Red Bull in, and that's how it felt. I used to say that it felt like I drank like 20 espressos 24/7. Like there were
Yeah,
just
and it's
Ferraris,
like you can't switch it
Ferraris
off.
going through me. And you can't normal anxiety stuff. It wasn't, I actually didn't, the funny thing was I didn't have anxiety in like the normal way that I think people get like I flew to Colombia, I went to Cuba, I was doing all these sort of like fearless things and not having that normal, but the actual experience inside of my body, beyond anything was that just the Red Bull hyper
Oh, yeah,
caffeinated. Yeah,
yeah.
now I'm like, oh, decaf for life. I've kind of always been decaf for life. So I think, oh my gosh. So
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking how glorious it might be to have to end with a beautiful song since you're such an incredible
Yeah.
songbird.
And
And I mean,
there's, yeah,
do you have
sorry.
anything in mind?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about that as well. And there's lots of songs that I've got my album coming out in a few months, which I've just finished, which I started 6 years ago. And and I had obviously like so I started 6 years ago. I had this massive break where I didn't work on it at all for like at least 2 years with the breakdown and stuff. And then I picked it back up and it's been slow. And anyway, I just got the masters like 2 days
Oh,
ago or something. But we're
amazing.
gonna be yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a process of like getting the artwork together and then releasing some singles and stuff. Anyway, I've got all these songs which I love to share, but there's a song which came straight out of the breakdown. Um, and I haven't shared it. It's not online. It's not on an album. I think I performed it once, like when I first wrote it. Um, but I feel like that would be a beautiful song to share, just because the words were literally. I often sing like I, like in the first person, but in this I'm singing like when you're trapped in the dark. So, but it's like me singing to myself when I was in that difficult space. So it's kind of like me singing to myself, me singing to whoever's watching, um, just as a reminder
I love that.
to get through this, basically. Um,
Yeah.
so what we could do, maybe we could like just say our goodbyes and kind of close, and then we could pause the video, and then I'll
Great.
put my microphone on so you
Yeah,
can.
I'm gonna pause the video. And so thanks everyone. Thank you, Susie, for sharing your incredible magical story of
Oh,
resilience, triumphance, that
mm,
there is light after the dark. And now we get to be serenaded. So whoever wants to stay on, which I hope you all do. So yeah, let's get the musical songstress serenading our souls.
When you're trapped in the dark, feel caged behind bars, you just want to fight where you are. Can you soften your body and rest into the pain? When you turn your back on the fear, run away from what's here. It keeps growing, becomes too much to bear. Can you gently turn around and embrace what's buried away? 'Cause the tide will carry you through, out of the spin. Just let yourself in. 'Cause you were never in control. Just let yourself go. And the fear you're pushing away, climbing the walls, just let yourself fall. 'Cause you were never in control. Just let it all go. And when you believe all your thoughts, your beliefs keep you caught. Your mind cannot see past the walls. Can you loosen your grip that's clinging to the cage? 'Cause there is nothing to do. It was never you. It was always just life moving through. Let go of the riverbank and let the current carry you. 'Cause the tide will carry you through, out of the spin. Just let yourself in, 'cause you were never in control. Just let yourself go. And the fear you're pushing away, climbing the walls, just let yourself fall. 'Cause you were never in control. Just let it all go. And just be with what's here. It's only too much when you try to avoid it, and be with what's here. It wants to be felt, it's the way you can heal it, and be with what's here. It's only too much when you try to avoid it, and be with what's here. It wants to be felt, it's the way you can heal it, and the tide will carry you through. Out of the spin, just let yourself in, 'cause you were never in control. Just let yourself go. And the fear you're pushing away, climbing walls, just let yourself fall. 'Cause you were never in control. Just let yourself go. And let yourself go. And let it all go. And let it all go. Let it all go. And let it all go. And let it all go. And let it all go. Let it all go. Thank you.
Wow. Oh my goodness. That was incredible. I feel like this is the song for anybody going through mind-body stuff, anybody going through healing chronic illness, anybody in nervous system shutdown. This is like the anthem. Oh my gosh, what an honor that this is the first place you're sharing this song publicly with us. I need a recording myself.
Yeah, maybe I'll record it.
Oh my gosh. So if that is not a testament to the beauty that can come out of the despair and the darkness, I mean, the song was born from the throes, from the trenches, right? It was born from that place of you needing your own lifeline. I mean, look at what beauty. So, oh, wow. Your music, it's funny because I've been playing it for years in my classes, but gosh, that personal serenade here on Zoom was like, oh, I just cannot wait to be in person together. Susie was actually supposed to come visit me when I was in Carmel this winter. And then, yeah, the astrology was crazy. The plans all changed. Here we are. But I am going to link where you can find the wonderful Susie Rowe in the description, and we can listen to her music, hopefully on repeat. And then Susie is also going to be an incredible angel and write up some tips for everyone, some of the things that really helped her the most. And I'll put those down in the description, and hopefully they can help you as well. Susie, I just love you. I'm so grateful. We really are. And this is the bonding that can happen because we haven't actually been together in person, but we're like, we love each other. We love you all the time. We're soul sisters. And so, yeah, for anybody just needing some soul sisters, man, woman, whoever you are, we are your soul sisters, cheering you on in this journey. And as you can see from our smiles, there is light on the other side. So
Yes.
thank you
Yeah.
so much,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.